Could be looking at you from a freeway train. If you handle it, take it. Separate loads, separate calls. The fine line don't have to be dead right. Just dead right.
Good morning, believers. Wow, happy Wednesday. Announcements today are very few, so I hope that you guys are doing well. And pretty much the only announcements are that B class and E class, I will see you guys at B class 9:30, E class 10:30. And we have decided that the team meeting on Friday, the team Zoom, that will be at 10 a.m. So you need to set alarms. You need to go to bed early. We would like to see you guys there. Please, 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 please. And all of that information is also on the Believers Team Google Classroom page. So I guess we're going to kind of get right into it. And you have no readings today. There are no readings. We are just talking about Rome and the United States. And what I think is important for you to understand is that a lot of our government structure is based off of Rome's, and that's why we're not a full democracy. We are a democratic republic, and the republic part of that comes from Rome, whereas the democratic and the democracy part comes from Greece or ancient Greece. So if we're talking about Rome and the United States, it's important to talk about it with regards to the three branches. And if you don't know this, we have three branches of government. They are the executive. That is the head of the government, okay? That is whomever or whatever leads the government, and usually the military right along with that. Then we have the legislative branch. The legislative branch makes the laws. And then we have the judicial branch, who applies the law and upholds the law. And interprets the law. So we're going to talk about those three branches because if you remember from yesterday, Rome also had those three branches: executive, legislative, judicial. I should make like some type of rap, like, yo, I am the executive branch. I lead. I don't know. I'll work on it. I'm sorry. Just let the cringe set in. Okay. I can't. I miss you guys so much. Okay, anyways. Been keeping in with the hip language. All right. So the executive branch in ancient Rome. This branch is led by two consuls. They are elected yearly, every year. And they lead the government and the army. Our executive branch in the United States, our executive branch is led by the president. And the president of the United States is elected every 4 years to one term. One term is 4 years. Now, the president can run for re-election and receive a second 4-year term. The consuls in Rome had to run every year and may not be re-elected. Okay, now when we're talking about the legislative branch in Rome is made up of the Senate. The Senate in Rome, 100 members. They advise the consuls. They set policies. They have 2 assemblies which make laws and select the officials for the government. What I want you to understand is that in ancient Rome, the government is electing these officials. The government is selecting them, people who are already in those positions of power. They don't have the democracy part like we do, where the people elect, the people vote, the citizens vote. You have to be in that position of power to be electing people of power. So their legislative branch, Senate of 300, advising consuls, making they have the 2 assemblies as well in that Senate. And remember, one of those is made up of tribunes, or represent the plebeians. Our legislative branch, we usually call them as a whole Congress, because they are made up of 100 members of the Senate. How do we get that number? We have 2 senators from each state, and we have 50 states. 50 times 2 is 100. Wow, you didn't know you were going to get some math today. Thank you, Mrs. Shea. All right. Then we have the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives is made up of 435 members, and they get that number based on the population of each state. So if you have more people in your state, you're going to have more members of the House of Representatives in Congress. Both of these parties, so meaning the Senate and the House of Representatives, any senator, any member of the House, they are elected by the citizens. When you turn 18, register to vote. All of you, vote. Both groups, when they are elected, they serve on Congress, and they meet on laws, vote on laws, make laws, and they balance one another out. So if something passes the House, it goes to the Senate. If something is in the Senate, it goes back to the House. And sometimes it can be this kind of like badminton type of game. And so you kind of just saw this happen, which was really cool for you historically, was with the stimulus package that was passed. It was passed through the House, went to the Senate, it was approved. And that is how all of the Americans received $1,200 in stimulus checks from the government, was through this package, was through our legislative branch working together to get that done. So, or I guess like attempting to work together, because we know that, like, you know, our government can be a little hostile sometimes, but we're all people. We're going to argue. So, because remember, my brain is not the same as your brain. Okay, judicial branch. Here we go. The judicial branch of Rome. They have 8 judges who oversee the courts and the nearby provinces. The nearby provinces are those little cities that might be outside of the center of the city. So like the capital. The provinces are going to be those little areas around the outside. Okay. And it's important to note as well that that presumption of innocence, meaning innocent before guilty, is also from or a mindset of their judges as well. And our judicial branch. So I'm talking at the federal level. We have a Supreme Court made up of 9 justices, and they interpret our law, federal law. And this is where it can get a little tricky as well, because so I'm talking about the government federally for the whole country, but each state has like a smaller version of everything that I'm talking about. So our Supreme Court, there are 9 justices. When you are to become a Supreme Court justice, you have to be appointed by the president. Then you go through like a process, and then it is approved. Oh my gosh, what is the word? I'm gonna have to look it up. Your justice approved. You're approved. You're now a member of the Supreme Court of the United States, and you serve for life. So we have Supreme Court justices who will be on that court until they pass away, and are no longer with us. Now, what's important to note as well is that within both of these civilizations, these groups are working together to uphold a code, a legal code, which is usually what we call the law. And in Rome, that code is the 12 tables. The 12 tables are inscribed on bronze tablets, and they are placed publicly for all to see. And there's 12 of them. And these list out the laws. Our legal code is the Constitution, and it's the basis. And of course, we've had amendments over time to the Constitution, because we've realized at points that the law is not always right. The law is not always right, especially if it's allowing inequalities and injustice to take place. So there have been amendments to this Constitution to repair those inequalities. And the Constitution establishes rights for individuals. So that's where you would find also your Bill of Rights. Remember, you are born with those inalienable rights. You are born with them. And the U.S. Constitution also lays out the powers that each branch of the government has, and each position of, and which powers each position of the government has. So, anyways, now you're going to go complete the chart, which has both sides, talking about the United States government and the government in Rome. And oh my gosh, I think that's it. Let's hope that that was it. Let's hope that I covered everything. Let me just make sure. Okay, yeah. Yes. Okay. That's about it. Love you guys. Mean it.
Put your hand on my shoulder.